The Rambler Network.
Welcome to the Pacific Coast, where the vast and serene holds more secrets than you could ever imagine. From ghost ships adrift in the fog to unsolved disappearances, we explore the mysteries that lurk along the shore. Join us as we unravel the enigmas that are oddly Pacific. The Pacific coast has always carried a kind of unease. The cliffs that rise over the water, the fog that rolls in without warning, the stretches of road where headlights vanish into blackness. But down along Big Sur, past where Highway 1 clings to the mountainside, people speak of something else. Not the ocean, not the cliffs, but the feeling of being watched. Travelers, hikers, even lifelong locals, they tell of figures glimpsed in the periphery, of presences felt but never seen. They call them the Watchers of Big Sur. Big Sur is a landscape of extremes. Sheer drops into crashing surf, redwoods that blot out the sun, and a highway so narrow it feels like it was carved by hand. It's beautiful, yes, but it's also isolating. Cell service dies, the roads twist endlessly, and fog moves like a living thing. It's here, in the silence between mountain and sea, that the Watchers are said to linger. The legend is said to have originated with early Spanish settlers in the 1700s. However, some sources say that the folklore predates them, with the local Chumash people having their own stories of shadowy figures. The earliest modern accounts come not from tourists, but from homesteaders in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. They wrote of shapes seen among the trees, tall figures that seemed to blend into the branches. A rancher described walking a trail and realizing the silence was too complete. No birds or insects, just the steady pressure of unseen eyes. When locals gave the beings a name, they didn't choose something monstrous. They didn't call them predators, demons, or ghosts. They simply called them watchers. The legend was famously cemented in American literature by author John Steinbeck, who mentioned the Dark Watchers in his 1938 short story Flight. The poet Robinson Jeffers, who lived in the area, also wrote about them. Their writings brought the local legend to a wider audience. As Highway 1 brought more travelers into Big Sur, the stories changed. Motorists would stop at overlooks and feel a chill, as though a dozen pairs of eyes were fixed on them. Hikers reported fleeting glimpses, tall, thin shapes standing far up the cliffs, watching silently. And always the same pattern. When you turned to look directly at them, they were gone. Some swore the Watchers weren't malevolent, just present. Others said they felt a deep dread, as if the cliffs themselves disapproved of them being there. Who or what are the Watchers? Some say they're spirits of the land, guardians of places untouched by human hands. Others connect them to ancient native legends of shadow people who linger at the edge of sight. Skeptics claim it's nothing more than isolation, fatigue, and the mind's tendency to conjure figures from shadows. But the oddest reports come from those who felt guided. Travelers who nearly slipped from a cliff only to feel a sudden urge to stop. Drivers who pulled over moments before a rock slide blocked the road, as if the Watchers were intervening. Today, with thousands of cars passing through Big Sur every week, you'd think the stories would fade, but they have not. Campers still whisper of waking in the night, certain someone was standing outside their tent. Photographers review their images and find faint human-like silhouettes among the trees. And locals, those who've lived their whole lives by the cliffs, simply shrug when asked. Of course there are watchers, they'll say. Big Sur is their home. We're just guests. Whether spirits, guardians, or tricks of the mind, the Watchers remain a part of Big Sur's identity. A reminder that along this coast, beauty and unease live side by side, that the wilderness has eyes, and that when you stand at the cliff's edge, gazing at the endless Pacific, something may already be gazing back. Every story leaves something behind. The mysteries we've walked through this season, of killers and cults, vanished families, haunted places, and unseen watchers, they don't end when the tape stops rolling. They echo outward, touching lives in ways both subtle and profound. When you speak the name of the Zodiac, the air changes. When you say the words Ghost Blimp, you feel the absurdity hide something darker. When you remember the Cowdens, or Elizabeth Short, or Heaven's Gate, you don't just recall facts, you feel the weight of the absence, the strange silence left behind. Stories like these are never just about what happened, they're about what lingers. Along the Pacific coast, the ocean has seen it all. Fog swallowing a raft whole, a family setting out on a camping trip that never ends, eyes on the cliff that may or may not be human. The water carries it, and land absorbs it, and the coast holds it in memory. Just like the people who live here, just like those of us who listen. Think of a stone breaking the surface, one event, one tragedy. The ripples spread. Decades later, strangers whisper the same stories. The ripple keeps moving outward, even if the stone is long gone. And somewhere down the line, maybe you catch it, a phrase or a feeling, a name you can't shake. That's the ripple reaching you. You may have never stood on Alcatraz, or under the Winchester staircases, or along the cliffs of Big Sur, but by hearing these stories, you've stepped into them. You've carried them with you, even briefly. That's the paradox of mystery. It isolates those who live it, but it connects those who remember it. We are all, in our own way, watchers, carriers of what remains. And so the season ends where it began, on the Pacific coast, where mystery is as constant as the tide. The ripples will continue, whether we follow them or not. But for now, the ocean is calm, the fog rolls in, and the voices fade back into the deep. This has been Oddly Pacific.
The Rambler Network.